It's an endless portal, a nightmare from which you cannot awake.
Greetings all, and welcome back. It's Aaron here, and today I'm painting a set of Skaven Clanrats from Games Workshop. So as you guys can see, we're starting with just sort of a basic flesh tone here. This is an easy way to just get some paint on the models. Just paint all their skin. And when you start to see their skin, the first thing, it sort of brings the model to life. It's a great way to just get paint on your unpainted miniatures. Sometimes, it's so easy to get them put together, get them painted black and spray painted ready for the next step, and they sort of just stay in this area for a while. It's kind of, you have to get up the energy to want to finish them, especially there's 20 of these guys, and I was kind of dreading starting the process. And so I thought, okay, I'll do a painting tutorial and kind of show you guys how easy it is. I think I did this entire table ready to go in like 4 hours total. And they're not, it's going to be sloppier, it's going to be messier, they're not going to win any competitions, but they end up looking really nice. Getting 20 miniatures ready for your game night says a lot, and you can get it done relatively quick. You get to take your time, you don't have to rush. As you can see here, this is about the speed that I'm painting the skin on one model. I'm taking my time. I'm not really worrying about the paint going on to other areas. I'm just trying to make sure all the skin is covered. And so that's really the main focus, is to just get the skin on every single model first. So one, you're using one paint the entire time. You don't have to swap between paints. It seems to save me some time as well as energy, knowing that I have to go back to the same paint every time. It makes it easier. I like to mix my own colors and really kind of get something that's not right out of the tube, so to speak. And you're having to constantly mix up the same color over and over again. Make enough that you can get through all 20 models, or use a paint that you really like the color of. That way, when it's on the model, it's ready to go, and then maybe you can darken it up with some wash or something at the end. But this first step here is really the longest step. The skin is sort of on these awkward parts of the model. And so in this stage, you just kind of take your time, learn what works. Use a relatively big brush. Don't feel like you've got to use a tiny brush. And go to town. Don't worry about mess. Slop it on the model, get the skin covered, and then we'll basically play cleanup as you add the other colors. All right, and simple as that, skin's done, and we move on to cloth or clothing. You can split this into multiple parts if you need to. So I started with sort of a greenish drab gray called Carrick Stone. And these guys have sort of a lower portion of cloth and a higher portion, like hoods and things like that. And so I started doing the same thing that I did with the skin, same brush size. And I'm just blocking in that color for where I know I want that cloth color to be. Now, what's important to remember here is when you're painting this cloth, try not to get cloth onto the skin. So it gets a little tighter every time you add a new color. So you get to paint over any skin mistakes or any flesh mistakes with the cloth. So here you can kind of see there's a little bit of flesh color on the back of his kilt. You paint over that, but you be mindful of the skin when you're painting cloth. And then it gets more complex as you grow in color. And see how quick that was? Skin took much longer than cloth did. And bingo bango, we are on to the second portion of cloth. Cloth again. Any cool red, works here, as long as red's what your contrasting color you're wanting it to be. So I thought red looked pretty cool on these guys. And just like the previous cloth color, the red goes on really quick, really easily. The only exception is sometimes around the hoods or the masks of the characters. It can be a little tighter, especially if you've painted skin, around their eyes or eye holes. And so feel free, take your time. Whenever you're doing 20 of these and okay, I've got a Sunday evening, just take it one step at a time, and before you know it, you'll have them all done. All right, now we get to move on to metal. This part really starts to bring the model together. You start to see, okay, I can do this. I can do this. Because it can be discouraging. But once you start laying in the metal work and starting to see all the cool little bits of chainmail and armor that they're wearing, it kind of gives you the push to finish up. So especially if you're kind of procrastinating when they're drying, I would let my models dry and I would go eat lunch or, go watch a little bit of television or something, and I would find myself not wanting to go back because I'm like, oh my God, there's so many of them. What am I going to do? But this stage really was the turning point. It was oh man, sweet. They've got shields. Yeah, little rat shields. This is going to be cool. And it kind of gives you the push to just finish up. Yeah, look at that. Starting to come together. And then this is the final thing when you're basing, is just wash the entire model with a brown wash. I use Agrax Earthshade just because I'm familiar with it. I like it. For $2, you know, you can get a little pot of it at your local game store. It's a great one to have. You know, you don't have to buy every Citadel wash. I kind of use different things. I like Citadel, but I'll just about use whatever looks cool. My style, you know, lends itself to kind of dirty and aged, and that's the world, my homebrew world as well, that I run at Ethros and the continent of Asgoth. Nothing there is pretty. It's all aged and worn and dirty. And so if that's your style, Agrax Earthshade really makes your models look pretty sick. I was really you know, it just impressed at how it hides some of the sloppier mistakes, but it also gives some shape where you may not have that extra time. And, you know, be pretty liberal with it. Just lay it on thick. Try to push it down into the areas you want it in, and, you know, keep it soaked off of the places you don't. So just hit all 20 models, let those bastards dry, and they're pretty much ready for the table. I will do another video on highlighting and how to bring out some of the extra bits. And that's pretty much it, guys. I want to thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more, and until next time.